Welcome to Eden Town Hall. Eden Town Hall is a forum for fractal governance innovation where we explore the future of collaborative decision making and fractal governance. So, Eden Town Hall follows each Eden Fractal event, and we dive deeper into the ideas, innovations, and strategies that are transforming how communities coordinate and make decisions together. Since 2022, Eden Town Hall has hosted over 61 events, actually, featuring discussions with pioneers in the cutting edge governance. So we invite you to join our biweekly events, watch videos, and share your thoughts at the events to help communities better coordinate and cooperate and govern themselves. So everyone's welcome to RSVP. You can learn more at edentownhall.com. We're supporting Eden Fractal Epoch 2, which has been building on Base and Ethereum. And check out the website where you can find on the top right corner both the videos and the RSVP link. We have a bunch of great videos that we've been producing lately since we revived Eden Town Hall about 3 months ago or so to go along with the Eden Fractal's 3-year anniversary and the Epoch 2. And then you can find out all the older episodes too that we did back in 2023 before we took an extended break. So lots of great stuff going on with Eden Town Hall. I encourage you to dive into our latest episodes as well as our historical content about fractal governance. If you're not familiar with fractal governance, I would check out edenfractal.com and the fractal ecosystem. Eden Fractal is a community dedicated to optimizing collective decision making through collaborative research, development, education, gamification, and community engagement. Working to help all communities optimize collective decision making with fractal decision making processes, which is like how plants branch out in fractal patterns to maximize growth and resilience, fractal governance, fractal democracy. Supports communities by enabling communities to break from smaller groups into smaller interactive groups with what we call the respect game. So it works similar to how trees branch into smaller limbs to operate more effectively. Groups can branch out into smaller groups and play games like the respect game, give each other respect, cooperate on chain to make decisions more effectively. So learn more at edenfractal.com. You can check out the blog where you can see more details about fractal decision making processes as well as the history of Eden Fractal and Eden Town Hall and the community of governance pioneers who've been working to help everybody make better decisions. So, and Eden Town Hall is here in support. You can check out all the playlists too on YouTube on the Eden Careers YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe to help spread the word and stay in touch with any events that you can't see. We also publish Optimism Fractal events too, where we're pioneering fractal governance on Optimism on the Superchain on Ethereum. And for today, we have an agenda. We have kind of a loose agenda. So in general, I think I forgot one link actually where you can go to loot.mosh-optimistics. Feel free to invite friends too. Love to meet new people who are interested in better cooperation or communities or governance and so forth. And you'll be able to see the Eden Town Hall event too, where you can join, register, invite friends, and so forth, and get reminders of each event, and also register for the other events on our calendar, like the Eden Fractal events and Optimism Fractal events, which occur every Thursday at 17 UTC. Town Hall is at 18 UTC. Okay, so I put together a brief agenda for things we can discuss here. One, I wanted to just give people kind of a overview and welcome because we didn't do a town hall last week or 2 weeks ago. We ended up just doing a shorter event, but just some updates from over the break because Eden Fractal and Optimism Fractal were recently on break. So we published some videos the Eden Careers YouTube channel has from Eden Fractal's return from summer break, and Eden Fractal recently relaunched the Eden plus Fractal consensus process, which you can learn about at edenfractal.com/plus. We actually just selected our second delegate since the revival of the Eden plus Fractal consensus process. Congrats to Swarthy. You can learn more about that, like I said, on the website. And we've also been, publishing those Eden Town Hall videos and the Optimism Fractal videos too. So, and over the break, there was an excellent Fractal Impact concert as well that was organized by EZ, co-hosted by Jose and Zaal, and many other people played a leading role here. Will gave some great talks too. So I encourage people to watch that. There was excellent music from a bunch of great musicians. And it was a really cool event to see all the people working to promote fractal governance and learn about fractal governance. I gave a little introductory presentation here as well about fractal governance. So it was a really inspiring event. And this happened like a month or two ago now, but wanted to give people the update for the Eden Town Hall audience. And you can check out the YouTube videos that are linked on the Eden Careers YouTube channel, as well as the NFT Smart YouTube channel. And I mentioned we recently adopted the Eden plus Fractal consensus process. I already gave a pretty thorough overview about that at the preceding Eden Fractal event, but you can learn about it here. Basically, this is the new legislative process that helps the Eden Fractal community make decisions. It plays a role in our tripartite governance structure, along with the ORDAO app for executing on-chain actions, as well as the respect game for judicial actions too. So we're working to build a better governance system here with Eden plus Fractal, where people can become delegates and help play a leadership role in making decisions for the community, such as potentially changing the time of Eden Town Hall events, which we just recently discussed as a possibility to make it easier for people in different time zones. So you can learn more about this at edenfractal.com/plus. If you want to get more involved, we also have an implementation plan where we've been working to build an app for it as well, like a next generation app. And you can learn more about, how it fits in with our broader Epoch 2 initiatives at Eden Fractal. But anyway, those are some thoughts here. So maybe we'll talk more about that if everybody's interested. But also, we can just have some open community discussions too. If anybody has any thoughts or questions about Eden Fractal and the Fractal ecosystem, I know we were actually having some really interesting discussions just before we started Eden Town Hall at Eden Fractal. So, yeah, it's open floor basically. If Swarthy, you have any questions about maybe, I know you're planning to USA, if I could just spam you with community links, I suppose. So maybe let me know what kind of links you'd be interested in seeing. Happy to share any links that you're interested in. Um, but yeah, happy to guide you. And then, yeah, if you want to ask right here, what would be most helpful for you? This is a space basically to have discussions and answer any questions about fractal governance too. So the agenda is pretty open for today. Same with you, Leo, too, if you have any questions, or Will, if you have any, questions or thoughts, or anyone wants to share any updates related to fractal governance and so forth. I think I'll stop my screen share now. Thanks all for being here. Thanks for watching. And yeah, I'm curious to hear from everybody and kick off what I imagine will be a great Eden Town Hall.
So yeah, I've got questions. Hi, everybody. I was selected as a delegate. Oh, is everybody the same people?
Yep, same people pretty much, although a couple people had to leave from the prior event.
So yeah, I guess questions would be, is that a Notion page that you're working out of? And is that a community Notion? And can I get in there? And are there docs tech-wise so that I can become prized of the stack and understand all the cool ways it gets used?
Yes, and yes, I think.
And then lastly, probably like an event calendar.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, I'll pull these up for you. And this will also be helpful for anybody else who's watching and has these same questions too. So let's see. I'm pulling up my links. If anybody else has any other thing you'd like to discuss here too, feel free to share a message in the chat at any point, or any other kinds of links. This could also be maybe a good overview session for fractal governance. I know Leo, for example, had some questions about fractal governance, so feel free if anybody else has any thoughts you want to share. But otherwise, I'll go ahead and answer these questions here, and feel free to jump in, any of you guys, with any thoughts along the way. So to answer your question, there is a Notion site. So there's actually two Notion sites. So this is the Eden Fractal Community Notion site. That's where I created this. I just created it in like some task, like, well, we have an Eden Fractal task database. So that's where I had created this agenda. And the Eden Fractal Community Notion site has more here. So I'd be happy to invite you here if you want to make comments or share any thoughts or make documents and stuff like that. If you give me your email that you use with Notion, then I'd be happy to do that. And then, yeah, you can see the Eden Fractal Notion site here too. It's not used that often. I post stuff here pretty often, but yeah, feel free to share thoughts. One of the main things we've done here is I've curated a lot of Eden Fractal strategy documents because we have a lot of documents that we've written about Eden Fractal. I don't know if this is the best place to start when you're getting involved in Eden Fractal, but just as an overview, there is a lot of good stuff about how we're planning to grow in this year. And there's also some more places too that you might be interested in checking out, but that's kind of like an overview of the Eden Fractal Notion site. If you're interested, there's also the Optimism Fractal Notion site too, which you can check out at optimismfractal.com. And this Notion site for an Optimism Fractal is very much there's a lot more there, although this hasn't been used much, and actually it's not working right now. Looks like there's some bit.ly link error, but there's also the Optimism Fractal Notion site, which has a bunch of tasks and projects and so forth. It's kind of better organized. So this has also been kind of like I worked on this a lot last year, and I occasionally add projects and tasks here, so we have it like fairly well organized with a bunch of projects and tasks. But this is also like, it's something to explore, but it might be overwhelming too because there's kind of so much stuff here. So, but both of these you're very welcome to collaborate and contribute on, and I'll share the links in the chat for both of these. And then, feel free to guide me if there's anything in particular that you're interested in, and I can help guide you along the way. The documentation. So maybe first, before I get into the documentation, technical docs, I'll just provide an overview. There's also I mentioned before the Eden Fractal blog, which is a good place to get started with, information about Fractal ecosystem as well as the Eden Creators YouTube channel. So we have a lot of different kinds of content for people who are interested in it, and we're constantly working to better curate and better create content. So if anybody wants to contribute to this, of course, then there's a lot of opportunities to do so. In the Optimistics blog, so Optimistics is a team that I created along with some other community members like Tadas and Rosemary and another developer named Vlad a couple of years ago. And so there's a blog here that has an overview of some of the core things that we do, like the respect game and fractal democracy and respect tokens and so forth. I'm not sure if you've seen these for these, so I'm just kind of going over them in an overview again for anybody who's interested. And one of the blog articles that I recommend for people who are interested in the tools is the Optimistics Toolkit, which is a page, or Optimistics Toolkit is a suite of open source tools that are centered around the respect game and fractal governance, enabling people to play the respect game and make decisions with respect. The soulbound token that people can earn that forms the foundation of fractal democracy. There's also an article here about respect as well, where you can learn more about it. I see you had asked, thanks for sharing your email. I'll give you access in a little while after I finish talking and stuff. You asked, what's the difference between the two, Eden and Optimism? So Eden Fractal has been around for the past 3 years, and it actually emerged out of a Eden community that's been around for longer than that, for over 4 years now. And Eden Fractal has had in its DNA, and the Eden community has had in its DNA, this concept of fractal democracy. That's basically what the community formed around initially. I'm having an issue right now with something going on with um, okay, I think I got it fixed. I was doing like a screenshot or something like that by accident. So yeah, the Eden Fractal community. You could check out maybe the Epoch One retrospective on our first 3 years, where you could see kind of like where Eden Fractal came from and how we got here and what we're doing now. So it started with a book called More Equal Animals, The Subtle Art of True Democracy, and there's hundreds of community members who gathered around to implement this. And it started with these actual, it started with elections, which was a different kind of consensus process for fractal democracy, where people elected a delegate, which is kind of similar to what we did with Eden plus Fractal. But it used to only have that. And then we created the respect game along the way and have evolved the way that fractal democracy can work, basically. So the Eden Fractal blog explains a lot of this. And really, it's been all about this concept of fractal governance, fractal democracy, and playing respect games. Whereas Optimism, you may be familiar with the Optimism Collective. Optimism is the leading infrastructure for scaling Ethereum. There's about 70% of all the Ethereum transactions, or wider Ethereum transactions, are happening on Optimism, which is the superchain. The Optimism Collective is the creators of the superchain. Many different chains like Base and World from the creator of OpenAI, and Sonium from Sony, and Ink and Celo and Unichain and so forth are all building on the superchain, which is basically the OP stack, which I think you're probably familiar with as a developer, Swarthy, but I imagine you're probably asking Optimism Fractal. But basically Optimism Fractal, so people can check out optimism.io to learn more about Optimism. But then Optimism Fractal is a community dedicated to fostering collaboration, awarding public goods creators, and optimizing governance on the superchain. So about 2 years ago, Optimism Fractal was just about to turn 2 years old, actually. The Optimistics team formed, and it started building on the superchain. We had rebuilt the software on the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine, and started to implement fractal governance and democracy that was, built in Eden Fractal on Superchain, and specifically to measure contributions to optimism and the collective and different Superchain networks and so forth. So these events, they're both hosted by myself, and the Optimistics team supports both of these and presents them, and the Eden Creators team produces videos for both of them. But they're two separate communities, two separate Fractal communities, where Eden Fractal is more specifically focused on for fractal governance throughout society, whereas Optimism Fractal is focused on Optimism and the Superchain specifically, and implementing fractal governance to help Optimism and Superchain. So you can learn more at Optimism Fractal and EdenFractal.com. And invite everyone to join both these events. They happen on bi-weekly Thursdays at 7 UTC. Hopefully that answers your question. Also, I see Will has his hands up. I kind of remember Will had his hand up for a while, so sorry, Will, if I forgot to call on you. Thanks for your patience, but feel free to
No, no, no,
unmute.
no, no worries. The hand raised earlier, I resolved it on my own, so we're good there. Quick
Okay.
question for you. With the focus of Optimism Fractal
Mhm.
and with the new Superchain accounts, right, which is basically a fork of the technology that Safe built for safe wallets, is there an opportunity for the Optimism Fractal community to either launch a campaign or have a badge that queries the respect token, for that view?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, I got a bit distracted in welcoming Zaal, and I was doing this to,
Oh,
to welcome Zaal,
no
and he's making
worries,
me
no
laugh.
worries.
Welcome,
Okay,
Zaal.
so you know how in the Superchain ecosystem we now have the Superchain accounts, right?
I believe so. Is that yeah, is that the initiative that was created by Superchain.eco?
Yes.
Am I mistaken? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. I
Okay.
haven't looked deeply into it yet, but I am familiar with it though, yes.
You haven't? Oh man, you're missing out.
I guess
All right.
so.
Can I share?
Well, I haven't looked at it since you guys shared it with me, and I've been thinking
Okay.
about it since you shared it with me. And I think this is a phenomenal idea. Like,
Can
I think we
I
should,
share my
yeah, go
screen?
for it. Please do. I would love to hear more
Sure.
about this.
Yeah, sure thing.
Okay.
I'll stop my share.
Okay, no worries. I just gotta get to the screen real quick.
Okay, sounds good. I have this up and
No
people can
worries.
watch
I'm
my
just
screen in the meantime.
tabbing through all my screens. Like,
I
give me
want
a
to give a
second
quick
here.
shout out to Civil. I see you're in here. What's up,
Yeah, Sybil's.
Leo and Swarthy and Will and Dan? So good to see you all in here.
Yeah,
It's been a nuts day for me. I'm traveling, so I'm glad I
we
could
see
even just
that.
pop in here. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Great to see you. Great to hear from you, Zara.
Hmm.
Leo's been in here a couple times now, so
Yep. Thanks for joining Zal, and of course, shout out to Leo. We've been missing you, Zal, and hopefully you're enjoying your travel day. But great to hear from you as always. And yeah, if anyone wanted to share any thoughts, then feel free. Waiting on you, Will. Whenever you're ready, I can stop sharing my screen, and you can go ahead
yeah,
and
go ahead and
share.
stop sharing your screen. I'm getting logged in now, so
Okay, sounds good.
and then I'll share my screen.
You're welcome. And Swarthy, hopefully that
Okay.
answered your question about the difference between Eden and optimism. And if you had any further questions, then feel free to let me know. And also, we'll get back to your questions about the documentation too. There's a lot of great documentation that Tadas has put up on GitHub. I know you expressed interest in learning about the tools and so forth. So we'll get back to that after Will shows us this Superchain account stuff. And interested to see what you're going to share here, Will.
Okay, so you
You're
guys can see my
also,
screen.
I just want to make one quick comment, if you don't mind, Will. I was just going to say, we're actually in the middle of the process of implementing ORDAO with Tadas at the ZAO. So, Swarthy or anyone else is super welcome to join me in watching that like process and like seeing like the questions he's asking me or like what it takes to add a fractal into ORDAO. So, anyone's welcome to like join in and like seeing that process. So, just shoot me a message if you want to know more.
Thanks a lot, Saul. And yeah, congrats on your pending or upcoming or in process integration of ORDAO. I'm really excited to see how that will work with ZAO Fractal. I think that's an awesome, exciting step with fractal governance and on-chain governance in general. So thanks, Saul, for the offer and encourage people to take him up on that. And big shout out, of course, to Tadas, the developer of ORDAO. I see Leo's unmuted. Leo, feel free to chime in, or Will, whenever you're ready, you can give us
Oh,
an
I'm
what we're
ready.
looking at here.
I'm ready.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, so you guys can see my screen, obviously, yeah?
Yes, we see
Okay, so
account.superchain.eco.
introducing the Superchain accounts where you can earn badges, level up, climb the leaderboard, and unlock transaction perks. So when you're here, you can either accept an invite if you got a personal invite, or you can just connect your wallet. Make sure you are on the Optimism chain in your wallet address, as that's the primary chain for this. I'm going to connect here with my MetaMask. And give me 1 second here to sign the transaction. I don't know, share screen, I might be going a little bit slower than normal.
Looks
So
okay.
just bear with that. Although I do have fiber optic internet, so that's That's one saving grace.
Okay, cool.
Let's see, Optimism. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, OP mainnet, update connect, and then you'll sign a transaction. And basically, in my mind, this is a visual representation of your participation across the entire Superchain ecosystem. So I think it's pretty cool. So this is your primary account. You can claim your .superchain name. I guess that functions as like an ENS domain, from my opinion. But the cool thing in here, they have raffles, so you can join a raffle for OP. They have connected apps to Superfluid and Velodrome. So those are the three highlights here. It's an unofficial distribution of Safe Vault, like I was talking about, so it's a fork of the Safe Vault emphasis. But in here, you'll see there are campaigns. So like right now, SuperStacks ran from April 15th to June 29th. There's the list surge. I don't know what it would take to create a campaign in here, but more specifically, I was talking and referring to the badges. So as you can see, I have 750 Superchain points, right? And these are how I've earned the points, either by being participating in Giveth, Season 7 super user, Season 8 super user, all different things across the Superchain being a user. So my question was specific to, is there a way that a badge could be created for the Optimism Fractal community? Twofold purpose, right? One, record everybody who currently holds respect and award them appropriately within this view. But then also, if people are in here, they see that, it's going to create exposure and awareness for the Optimism Fractal community to get more people engaged and involved with what we're doing.
All right. Well, thank you, Will, for the overview. This is really cool. I'd heard about it, but I didn't. This is my first time actually seeing the full interface. So, really cool stuff. Appreciate you sharing it with us here. And yeah, I'm looking forward to at some point making my Superchain account. Big shout out to the guys at Superchain Eco. I had the pleasure to meet them at the ETH Denver event that they co-hosted. So yeah, I think so. I mean, I'd be curious to learn how it could be integrated. I'd definitely be interested in integrating respect there, and I think that there's a lot of potential and good reason to implement the um, respect scores, where you could have one of those badges, as well as the amount of respect that you have, giving you more of a superchain score. So I'd be interested to check out if they have, I suppose, documentation for how to integrate that, or if there's some way to contact their team, or if that's the way to do it, to contact their team. So yeah, I don't know how it would work exactly, but I'm definitely interested in collaborating with Superchain Eco and having Optimism Fractal data that is basically helping to create those reputation scores and so forth for Superchain Eco
Yeah,
accounts.
and just speaking of that, so I feel it'd be like, partnering with their team and figuring out what the process is to get that add-on. I will tell you from this experience, there's a similar view out there in the regen ecosystem called Prosperity Passport, which was set up by Celo Public Goods, and it measured your activity across the Celo ecosystem. And so for Let's Grow DAO, we had one of our founders reach out to the team. They got a badge added for Let's Grow DAO. So now people that are part of Let's Grow DAO, based on their Grow token holdings, are rewarded in that fashion as well within that platform. So
All right. Well, very cool and interesting. Thanks for sharing additional details about this. Yeah, if Will, you're interested in any way to help connect us with these communities, and or to help get Optimism Fractal's respect known, because also Celo is building on a super chain as well. So that could be a place where
yeah,
potentially Optimism Fractal's respect could count as well in that their their accounts and dashboard and so forth like that. So I actually do have I was sharing before the Notion project, and I had some projects that were or projects and tasks that were well, maybe let me speak more clearly. So the Optimism Fractal Notion site has some projects and tasks there about integrating respect into other things that have been built in Optimism Collective. Like, for example, there was some voting systems for retro funding for retro PGF over, I think, season 6 or season 5, where people with different kinds of like developer scores, or people who had their commits uh, like basically accepted on GitHub by major repositories and other kinds of things that basically they're using different metrics to um, determine the allocation of votes among citizens, house or token and stuff like that. So I have some projects related to that. I don't know exactly where it is. I'm looking at the Optimism Fractal Notion site too, but I have some projects related to that, and I also have a bunch of projects like about integrating Optimism Fractal with, say, ENS or different kinds of primitives like EAS and so forth, Ethereum Attestation Service. So I think this is like a pretty eh, like there's a lot of integrations that could be done basically. Right now, most of my focus, as well as say Tadas's focus as lead developer of ORDAO. Like we've been working with a pretty small team, or like people who are basically I suppose what I'm trying to say is that a lot of the focus has been on documenting this stuff and then kind of working internally, like still working internally on our app development and so forth like that. But um, yeah. It'd be awesome to integrate with these different things like the Superchain eco accounts and Celo accounts and all these different kinds of programs across the Superchain. And if you're interested, Will, in helping to make any of those connections, or potentially we could just put it as a project in the Optimism Fractal projects and then have it as something that we remember to do for later. But that would be awesome to get it integrated somehow. And thanks again for bringing it to our attention, Will. If there's anything you want to share about it, then feel free. If there's anything else.
I'll see if I can do some digging. I don't have a lot of leverage in the Superchain ecosystem as much as in the regen community, but I can investigate both pathways for you.
Sounds great. Thank you, Will. Well, yeah, if you're not able to make any of these connections happen right now too, that's not a big deal. I imagine, as Optimism Fractal keeps growing, and we keep putting our energy into making Optimism Fractal better and better, then it'll be naturally heard about more by the leaders of Optimism Collective Governance, Token House, Citizens House, and the builders behind Superchain.eco and so forth. So yeah, appreciate your interest and efforts in helping to promote it, and helping to get us integrated. But when the time is right, the time will be right too. So and that's something to look out for whenever we get that set up. If anybody has any other comments on superchain.eco and the Superchain eco accounts, then feel free to share. And thanks again, Will, for bringing it to our attention. And we'll see you in the next steps. Looking forward to updates. And if there's no further comments on this topic, then I can return to the previous topic that we were discussing, where Swarthy had asked some questions about the technical documentation. I see Swarthy had also wrote he's happy to join you. I think he might have been talking to Zaal when Zaal offered that, and um, or he's talking to Leo. So feel free if anyone wants to jump with any comments. But I suppose otherwise, I'll continue with my overview of the Optimistics toolkit and different tools that Timothy may be interested in diving in deeper. And then I'll, as requested, spam you with a bunch of links at some point and also add you to the Notion site. So I had previously shared the Eden Fractal Notion site, Optimism Fractal Notion site, Eden Fractal blog, Optimistics blog, Eden Creator's YouTube channel. All these places are places where you can get involved. You also asked about the events calendar too. So the best place for the events calendar is the Optimistics event calendar. That's at lou.mosh/optimistics. Maybe I'll just go ahead and share that in the chat right now before I forget. Um, that's where we host all our events for Optimism Fractal and Eden Fractal, as well as the Eden Town Hall, and we sometimes host Optimism Town Hall too. We have another event called Optimism Town Hall that sometimes occurs after Optimism Fractal. So all those events you find here, and then if you RSVP, then it goes into your inbox and so forth. So that's a great place to get involved with the events, and love to see you there. And anybody else who would like to join, then everyone's welcome to join. And Optimism Town Hall is where you can see those events. We're probably going to have another one pretty soon, actually. We haven't had one in the past months, but soon. Optimism Fractal's 2-year anniversary is coming up, so we got to do some planning for that. So you can see the first 4 seasons of Optimism Town Hall there. And then I think I was previously about to share the Optimistics toolkit. So I would say that's a pretty good place to start for people who are interested in the tools and like an overview of the tools for Optimism Fractal. That doesn't get too technical yet, but provides a kind of conceptual overview of fractal governance and the tools that are available. So all these things could be updated and better curated, but I think it's a pretty good curation now. It shows ORDAO, which is the main smart contract infrastructure, as well as Fractalgram, which is an app that is designed to connect with ORDAO for playing the respect game. There's a couple different versions of Fractalgram. There's a web app that was built by Abraham, and Tadas built a Telegram app that we just used, and uh, Zaal has built a similar kind of Discord bot for reaching consensus on Discord. So you can learn more about this on the website, as well as an app called respect.games that was built by a developer named Vlad that enables asynchronous respect games and asynchronous voting with a different kind of smart contract infrastructure. So you can learn more about all these on the Optimistics Toolkit website, as well as I showed some other articles, but Fractal Democracy provides a pretty good overview of what all these are aiming to accomplish in the end, and the respect game article as well. So these are places where you can learn for an overview about these, and then from there, you can also find the GitHub repositories, and there's also other articles about lots of different kinds of uh, tools and integrations. Like we have an integration with Hats Protocol, and we have a game called Agendas for setting community agendas, and we have a bunch of conceptual frameworks like respect trees for more granular decision making, and we have the Optimism Fractal Council and decision making process and so forth and so forth. I started to put together an Optimism Fractal development hub for developers. It hasn't been actively curated lately, but there's a lot of good resources there. Also, Fractally is this website, or I suppose this community initiative that started up a few years ago. That's a big inspiration. It's where the first ideas of the fractal of the respect game emerged, and it's also um, where the original author of More Equal Animals, Daniel Larimer, he was also the creator of some major blockchain platforms like EOS and Steam and BitShares. He wrote this as well as led a team that started Fractally. So there's a white paper there that you can find if you're interested in digging into this white paper. That's currently we're doing something that's different. And the white paper isn't available on the website, but you can find it on the Optimistics blog. So this has a white paper that shows a different design of prior to calling it the respect game. This is where the idea of respect was introduced and has been a big inspiration for our community. So there's a lot of information here that's really useful. And then, yeah, Fractal.com, they have their own blog as well that goes into more details about a lot of these things. And then, yeah, I shared that development hub. This is one of the pages that's in the Optimism Fractal Notion site as well, where you can see this is stuff that I try to curate. I don't know how well it is curated, but this is something that might be helpful for developers, where I actually did a tag on all the Optimism Fractal projects that were development projects, like integration with EAS and Hats Protocol, and integrations with Snapshot and Notion API and stuff like that. So for any developers who are looking to see, projects that we might have had already, a lot of these already have a lot of tasks and projects because we've worked on these, a lot over the past months and so forth. So this is, for example, showing an overview of our integrations with Hats Protocol. And we have articles to improve documentation and stuff like that, or by the projects and so forth. This is actually what I was talking about before, the retro PGF UI to sort applicants by respect. That's a project that I created and curated some stuff. So there's a lot of like information there, but all these things are things that it might be difficult to navigate. And I wouldn't recommend necessarily diving into that in at first. Like probably the Optimistics blog and the Optimistics Toolkit is probably a good place to get started, as well as the the videos we provided, and also for people who are interested in developing and implementing fractals, one of the places where I'd recommend searching first is the ORDAO software. That's what Zaal was mentioning, that he's working to integrate with the ZAO Fractal community, and this is the smart contract infrastructure, which is basically the leading smart contract infrastructure for fractal communities. And there's also the ORDAO app that has been built by Tadas. He released it a few months ago, and we have a great video that provides an overview of this app at optimistics.io/ORDAO. So this is probably a good place to start for people who are really interested in diving deep to the tools. We also have a Superchain ORDAO that we built as part of an incubator program with the Superchain, where I gave a little overview, and another developer named Jacob had built the Superchain tools and so forth. So basically, there's a lot of resources. There's also an ORDAO Fractal community. And then maybe the last thing I should share, because I've been talking for a while here, is I mentioned GitHub repositories, which I still haven't shared yet. So if you go to maybe the easiest place is if I went back to this Optimistics toolkit, then you can find scroll down a little bit and go to GitHub repositories. And well, this is Optimistics GitHub organization. I believe at the top we have uh, this pinned page for Frapps, which is short for Fractal Apps, and these things need to be organized a bit better because I created a Frapps repository from the Optimistic site, and then Tadas also created a Frapps repository too from um, his own personal account. But this Frapps repository aims to curate all of the active or legacy Fractal software repositories, including ORDAO, including Fractalgram, including our previous implementations before we started building on EVM, including the respect.games app. So you can find all the repositories here. Most of it is open source and pretty well documented in these different places. And the repository that's most well documented and most actively developed is that ORDAO repository and the Frapps repositories. These are the ones that Tadas has been building. And I could share links to these in the chat. But yeah, basically where it says ORDAO dev repo and Frapps dev repo, these are the two places where Tadas has been doing a lot of the work on the ORDAO smart contracts, as well as the ORDAO app. I previously showed the ORDAO app, so you can see that at eden.frapps.xyz and so forth. You can find that at optimistics.io/ORDAO. But Tadas has been doing an excellent job of breaking down the contracts, the services, the libraries, the apps, the tools, as well as the concepts too. I think he moved the concepts to the Frapps repository. So in this Frapps repository, he had shared basically he shared a bunch of definitions and like overviews of like the different fractal communities and the different deployments of these different fractal communities. And then he'd also shared, I'm looking for the concepts page, but there's a concepts page where you can see like where he's written this out all like very concisely, basically. So that's there. You might have to dig around a little bit. Perhaps .xyz is where he hosts the ORDAO repositories. Also for Optimism Fractal, there's an intents page too. Currently, that link is broken, but that shows this is also something that might be interesting for developers too, because Optimism Fractal has an intents page. Oops, it's at optimismfractal.com/details that shows the exact rules and specifications of the respect game and governance processes at Optimism Fractal. So that might be interesting for people who really want to dive into the specifications and learn more how it works. And we're working on releasing this kind of same specifications page for Eden Fractal in our second epoch. And then, yeah, I suppose that repository, I didn't say it out loud, but sim.31 is Tadas's GitHub name, account name. And if you explore the github.com/sim31/ORDAO and github.com/sim31/Frapps. Then you can find a lot of the most commonly updated repositories and so forth. But for people who are interested in also exploring more of the development on Fractalgram, and the development, which is the user interface for playing the Respect game, or the respect.games app, which is a totally different app for executing fractal governance, or the other tools, then I suppose if you went to optimistics.io/tools and then navigated down and clicked any of these links that interest you, as well as navigate down to the GitHub repositories or the Frapps repository, that's where you can find links to all these repositories. So it might be a bit difficult for me to share all these in the chat because I don't know which ones to share. So um, feel free to guide me, Swarthy. Hopefully that was helpful for you. And if there's anything in particular that you're interested in learning about, then I'm happy to provide more information.
You sort of lost me. Okay, you said you GitHub username sim.31.
Just sim31. So I'll show you a link. This is Tadas's GitHub.
Okay.
My apologies for losing you.
The Notion that is that where you said the links to the other repositories was on the Notion? You said the link to the GitHub was here, but I don't know what page you were on.
Sure. Thanks for your patience and hoping to get involved with this. I'm looking for my Zoom chat and I can't find my Zoom chat right now.
That page there that you're looking at. What is that?
This is optimistics.io/tools. So Optimistics, Mystics spelled with a Y. Optimistics.io/tools. on the chat, so I can now share the link to this in the chat. And so this will give you a lot of articles with introductory overviews to these different tools and processes. And then if you scroll down here, then you can find the Frapps repository, which is the Optimistics Frapps repository. We really need to name that better because there's two Frapps repositories right now, as well as the Optimistics GitHub account. And from there, you can find a lot of these, or basically all of the software.
Thank you. Thank you. I will bookmark all of this.
You're welcome. I'll also share, in case you're interested in diving deeper into the inspirations, I'll share fractally.com and the Fractally white paper. No need to check out all this stuff if it's overwhelming. I'll also share the Notion site for Optimism Fractal if you're interested in exploring it here. And this is where the spamming of the links comes in. This is the Eden Fractal Notion site. And then, of course, there's optimismfractal.com and edenfractal.com, but I think those are pretty easy to remember. And also, the Eden Fractal blog might be helpful because that's where you can find more details about the history. Like if you want to check out More Equal Animals, for example, there's a website, moreequalanimals.com, and that you can find these things through like maybe going to the Epoch One article. There's big history here, as well as if you go to optimistics.io/blog, then you can also find more about the history, and from there you can find things like the More Equal Animals book. That's also an audiobook too. So if you want to really dive deep into the philosophical foundations of what brought this all together in the first place, then if you go to the Fractal Democracy article, then that explains it there, as well as you can find further links, like for example on the screen, there's a whole bunch of links. Like there's been hundreds and hundreds of videos created by Fractal Democracy, and I've done my best to like organize them. And there's been hundreds of articles about Fractal Democracy and audiobooks and ebooks and stuff on More Equal Animals. So if you're interested in, diving deeper into that, then you can find a lot on this Fractal Democracy article as well.
Thank you much.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. Thanks for your interest. And feel free to also reach out to me or in the Optimism Fractal Discord, which I believe you're in. Yeah, you're in there. And the Eden Fractal Telegram chat. Hopefully you should be able to chat there, no problem. So if you have questions about this, in the coming weeks, in between events, and you're looking for any specific resources, feel free to reach out to myself or Tadas or other community members for more information or questions, and we're happy to help guide you in to find whatever most interests you. I know there's a lot of information, but that's helpful because you can find lots of cool stuff. Lots of great stuff has been made. And then community members like myself can help guide you to whatever you're most interested in to help make it more efficient for you and help find out what you want to learn about.
Thank you much.
You're welcome. All right, we are past the top of the hour now, so we're scheduled to conclude at 19 UTC for the Eden Town Hall. So we've had an excellent Eden Fractal event and Eden Town Hall event now. Thanks all for the great discussions. This has been a really interesting episode of Eden Town Hall. So we should probably start wrapping up any minute now. But if anybody has any last thoughts, then feel free to share. And then whenever we're ready, maybe now, and maybe after anybody has their last thoughts, then we'll wrap up and we'll conclude. And then we'll be back for Optimism Fractal next week at Thursday, 7 UTC. Of course, everyone can check out the Optimistics event calendar at lou.mosh/optimistics to register for Optimism Fractal occurring September 18th as Optimism Fractal heads into its almost 2-year anniversary now. And then on the following, yeah, there we go. Will's pumped. There we go. Will's heart is beating big for Optimism Fractal. Very nice. Mine too, sir. Thanks for all the enthusiasm. And of course, Eden Fractal will be returning as well on, I believe it's December 25th. And Eden Town Hall will be on September 25th too, the next Thursday after that. We meet every Thursday, 17 UTC, and we'll be doing so until the ends of our seasons, which is sometime in like November. So the next 2 months we'll have events every Thursday at 17 UTC, and some town halls at 18 UTC as well. So, yep, thanks all for being here in the great event, great events. If anybody has any last comments, then feel free to share. And If not, then whenever we're ready, then sometimes we like to end with, I suppose we say go Eden Fractal again, or maybe go Fractal Ecosystem, or go Eden Town Hall, or go, if there's anything we want to go and say to conclude, then we can together as a fun thing. But I see Leo's unmuted, so Leo, is there anything you'd like to share?
Always be kind in governance. No matter how many systems, always remember there's another human in front of you.
That's right. Very well said, Leo. Thank you very much. Which that's an excellent point. One of the things I love about our community events that we have here, um, that we get to see each other in person, and we get to connect as humans and as friends. So thanks all for being here and connecting with us. And keep in mind Leo's advice. It's very good advice, and that's why we have respect heart right at the core of the of our governance process. So I see Swarthy shared something interesting, a Substack about Eden plus Optimism Fractal newsletter. Oh, this looks interesting. Do you want me to pull this up on the screen, Swarthy?
Oh, I used Tactic, which is a lovely free AI like transcriber that follows me around, and you can talk to it like during the call. So I just had it summarize our respect session earlier and posted it in an article.
Awesome. Do you mind? I think it'd be cool for me to pull up on the screen. Is that cool with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Well, this is a little summary that we have here. From what I see, I've only had the chance to like kind of just read a couple lines from it so far, but it looks like the Eden plus Optimism Fractal newsletter, the Respect Game Community Town Hall. Big momentum this month. The Eden Fractal relaunch Epoch 2. Well, the Eden plus Fractal process, Epoch 2 has been past few months now, and the Respect Game is in full swing. And Optimism Fractal resumed its summer break with fresh ecosystem conversations. Short update. So awesome update. Thanks so much, Swarthy, for putting this together. That's really cool. This Frapps at XYZ should have two P's. So and Optimistics with a Y. But those are like some small little things. So yeah, thanks so much for putting this out there. We really appreciate whenever you or anybody else help spread the word about Eden and Optimism Fractal. That's an awesome contribution and really helpful for everyone here and everyone in the world, I believe. So thanks so much for that.
Optimystics is spelled with a Y. Got it.
Yes, the Y is the mystics part. There's still an I in here, but the mystics is spelled with a Y. So that's that. And then Eden Frapps. Frapps is short for fractal applications. So it's like how apps is spelled with two P's. Frapps is spelled with two P's. So, yep.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Should be fixed now.
All right. Well, thanks so much for putting that together and also making those updates. And yeah, I think we're probably ready to call it. Yeah, is that right? And should we say go something?
Go Fractal.
Go Fractal. That sounds good with me. All right. So on the count of three, if you all join me, we'll count down. We'll chant out Go Fractal. Thanks so much, everybody, for being here. Hope to see you next time and have a great week. 3, 2, 1. Go Fractal. All right. Thanks all. See ya.
Bye.
Ciao for now.